Today, we're breaking down the testimony that could shift the direction of this trial. In her 2 days of testimony, Megan Thee Stallion laid out the emotional impact, the online harassment, the deepfake incident, and the brand losses that sit at the center of her claims. Let's walk through what the jury heard and why it matters. Day 1, Megan was tearful yet controlled. She walked the jury step by step through the 2020 assault, the hospital, the glass lie, and the years of online harassment that followed. She explained that she lied about stepping on glass because she feared police, especially with the gun involved, and she didn't want Daystar Peterson, Tory Lanez, to get shot by LAPD. She testified about the exhaustion of 5 years of being called a liar and described the impact in ways that directly support her intentional infliction of emotional distress claim. Anxiety, loss of sleep, depression, distrust, loss of safety. Her therapist testified to support these claims, though the opposing side critiqued how much the therapist was being paid and raised the point that Megan didn't mention any key content creators like Akademiks, Aiden Ross, and Joe Budden during her therapy sessions. Next, prosecutors dug into the ecosystem that pushed anti-Megan narratives. Station head streams, fan pages connected to Milagro, moderators, Cash App activity, the 3,000 in payments from Sunstar Peterson, promo exchanges, podcast appearances, and the network of pages amplifying the same talking points. They also introduced Aiden Ross's text messages showing how these claims bounced around multiple people, picking up credibility through repetition. Outside the courtroom, Akademiks and Armon Wiggins discussed the same dynamic from a creator's perspective, pointing to the moment Akademiks tweeted the DNA results were inconclusive, which was quickly repeated across the commentary space. They argued the rumors spread through hierarchy, not coordination. Bigger platforms speak, mid-tier platforms react, smaller platforms reinforce whatever trends. Platform politics does matter here, but not in the way they framed it. In defamation and IIED cases, hierarchy isn't a neutral explanation. It's a measure of reach, and reach is what turns a rumor into harm. Creators talk about who breaks a story. The court looks at who repeated a false statement as fact and how far it traveled. They also seem to gloss over sourcing ethics. Academics insisted Tory and Sunstar weren't his source. Armand said even if they were, who cares? But in journalism, relying on unverified information from a subject in a criminal case is a serious breach. Their exchange shows how creator logic minimizes practices that carry real consequences in legal and journalistic contexts. And inside the courtroom, none of the creator explanations matter. What mattered was Megan's testimony about how the misinformation solidified into a narrative that damaged her credibility in her career, and how quickly that narrative spread through an ecosystem designed to reward repetition, not accuracy. Day 2 looked completely different. The cross examination was tense. At multiple points, Megan challenged the wording of questions, corrected misquotes, and shut down narrative spin attempts. In court, observers described her as firm, sharp, frustrated with manipulation, and done with being misrepresented. She pushed back hard when asked if she cared about the online commentary, clarifying that the issue wasn't mere opinions, it was years of being called a liar as a fact, in ways that damaged her image, career, and mental health. She also pushed back when asked about other conflicts in her life that contributed to stress, including her label issues with Carl Crawford and Jay Prince, and others speaking ill of her, like Drake and Meek Mill. The defense argued that Milagro wasn't the only factor impacting her mental health. The contrast was striking. Day 1 was emotional and controlled. Day 2 was direct and defensive. Both matter because the jury watched her shift in real time, and that shift plays a role in how they evaluate credibility in a defamation case. Megan testified that she lost a major Google partnership because of ongoing harassment and defamatory content made the brand pull back. With Call of Duty, the report is slightly different. A top executive from her label stated Megan declined a collaboration with Activision after learning her character would be shootable in the game. The filings and exhibit list reference several other brand deals from 2023 that either paused or were canceled entirely, all used by Megan's team to demonstrate a pattern of economic harm triggered by the harassment campaign. And that's where the trial heads next. Tomorrow, we're getting more cross-examination of Megan Thee Stallion, plus the witness testimony, possibly more from Milagro, but this wraps up the bulk of Megan and Milagro's testimony from the case. I'll be sure to provide any more details as the trial resumes and concludes. I'm Dr. Q, and this is Real Quick Media. Be sure to like, comment, share, and subscribe.